Hello, friends, and welcome back to a very rotten episode of Elden Ring, as we are in the midst of all manner of rot here in Mikola's Haligtree. Last episode was quite something, contending with a number of, I guess, what we're calling field bosses who are just kind of normal enemies now. Such as, Erdtree avatars and, various lion type enemies and all manner of kind of unpleasantness. But we are surviving, if not thriving, I've decided to go for kind of like, almost like a little bit of an Assassin's Creed look. I don't know. Sure that you could go by a number of descriptors, but here we are. We're going to continue exploring as we look to get to the soft candy center of the chocolate-covered Mikola's Haligtree, if you will. So, looks like there's a number of ways for us to go about this. I don't think we're meant to jump over there. It does seem like we can perhaps drop down here. With some safety, potentially. Yeah, okay. Now the question is, where do we want to drop down from here? I think right here, actually. Whoop. Uh-oh. Alright, those sorcerers are quite something else. Heal up again. There we go. Yeah, those little Kindred of Rot sorcerers are no joke. Ooh, a Great Shield Talisman. Hang on, what do we have here? Enormously boosts physical damage negation. You know what? Before this episode, I had decided to put on the Dragon Crest Shield Talisman. This is a better version of that. And let's see, our equipment load is unchanged, it would seem. So, yeah, that is a very, very good addition to our build out. Alright, now these guys are a pain, a thorn in our side. Without a doubt. Flame, give me iframes. Alright, come on. Uh-oh. There we go. Alright, there's somebody on the second level who is unhappy with our involvement here. So we'll have to be mindful of that. Is there a way to get back up to the second level? Oh, hello. Alright, there's usually some good stuff here on the balconies. Oh, is this another shortcut? Oh, actually we're going down. I expected to be going up. Oh, well we got a little bit of a side of grace. Okay. Ooh. That looks unpleasant. Well, let's grab this side of grace real quick. Grab this side of grace real quick. Here at the Haligtree roots. So we are getting close to whatever's down here. Alright, wow, look at all these butterflies. Now, is this thing about to come to life? Travelers, manchettes, and boots, and I'm wary of attacking this thing. Sadness. Now, why is this sad? What traveler was this? Warned by young women who set off into the world to confront their fate. Oh, I wonder... Is this somebody that we previously met that maybe we didn't save in time? Maybe it's completely plausible that there's... I mean, we've met a lot of, you know, individuals along our way. And it's possible, I mean, just with the way that the quests go, if you're trying to do this blind as I am, it's completely possible that maybe I did not do something that was necessary. Be wary of trap, huh? We are going pretty fast. That just had me a little nervous. Okay. Oh, there's an Erd Tree avatar right there. Oh, and there's a Stone Sword key area down there as well. I think there must be quite a bit here in the Halig Tree that I have not really explored yet. But it's just one of those things where you just kind of want to pursue things as far as possible, you know. And then it's sometimes hard to remember to go back to clean up later, but we should. This looks interesting. Michelin Knight's Sword, which we could wield if we wanted to. Strength, Dex, Faith. Sword forged by servants of Miquella of the Halig Tree, with a design modeled after those carried by Carian knights. Instead of glintstone, however, amber from the Halig Tree is embedded in the blade. A sumptuous piece, yet it has never been offered to any knight. An ill-starred sword with no master. Until today. I am happy to be the master. Be wary of sniper. Alright, so we are above... We're above it all. And we're also above where we were trying to fight earlier, I think. Whoops. It's not really what I meant to do. It's going for more of the backstab here. Don't get up. Don't get up for me. Probably somebody behind me. Oh yeah, I think we've already done this, haven't we? Or something close to this? Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if we need to be doing all of this right now. Let's see what the hint is. Time for rolling. Okay. This seems momentous. There's a little summoning sign here as well. Give up? Well, that doesn't inspire confidence. Okay, well, I guess let's do this. Oh, cutscene. Hello. There seems to be a theme in Elden Ring with people having like kind of like prosthetics and various limbs. Like Millicent was one of them, right? And so was Commander Nile. Very interesting.
My flesh was dull gold, and my blood rotted. Corpse after corpse left in my wake. As I awaited his return.
She's referring to he being Miquella. He of the slumbering egg next to Moog, right? So this is not
Heed my
Mikola.
words. I am Malenia,
Oh.
Blade of Mikola.
Oh no.
And I have never known defeat.
I have, repeatedly. Okay, so here's the thing, guys. This is a blind playthrough, but you can only live under a rock for so long. And I happen to know Malenia's reputation as possibly the hardest boss in the Souls series. So I am fully, oh no, intimidated right now.
I am Malenia, Blade of Mikola.
Oh, and she heals. Damn. I'm fully intimidated right now. I have heard of this person. Suffice it to say. I have heard of this person and the reputation and yeah, so here we go. Buckle up. Honestly, not even gonna get the runes. Just let that be known now. Oof. Oh, man. That little recovery attack that she does. Uh-oh. That was a bad move. She moves around very quickly. Heal up. Oh man, the fact that she heals. Oh, bad move. Unsheath, don't fail me now. Interesting how passive she is. Until she's not. Oh my god. Oh no. That's toast. Wow. Whoa. And friends, this is where we enter montage mode. Yep, that's right. Coming at you from the future, where we're just going to kick back and reflect on what is happening in front of you, what has happened in the past for me, and my thoughts. Starting with that absolutely ridiculous whirlwind attack. Just a couple little choice samples here for you. I truly did not know how to handle those, and that was probably my first indication that this was going to be a serious effort, taking on Malenia. But, part of games like this is adaptation. So here is what I call my experimentation phase. So you can see that I've pivoted from the Uchi to the Bloodhound Fang. My rationale being, well, I've got a really nice little Bloodhound Finesse Ash of War there. Maybe I can mitigate some of my poor dodging by being able to, I don't know, use that special a number of times, but, I mean, you gotta learn the moveset. And I also found that the Ash of War was a little bit inconsistent with getting hit in the midst of it. Here's my Great Sword run. It did not last very long. Just with the sheer amount of wind-up that those Great Swords need, and the relatively lackluster amount of damage it did without inflicting bleed or anything extra, I quickly figured that this was not going to be the one for me. Next, we're back to the Uchi, but now we're trying out the Bloody Slash Ash of War. I thought, well, Malenia is human. She seems to have procced bleed fairly often. Maybe this is the new mood. We try to stay far enough away from her and build up blood. But the blood was just still not proccing at the rate that I was hoping for it to to occur. Here's an interesting one. I decided to try Rogier's Rapier and the Glintstone Phalanx out. The fact that I had been able to stagger Malenia with the Unsheathed made me think, well, maybe she's got lower poise than I'm giving her credit for. Maybe the Glintblade Phalanx, one of its advantages is that it does decent poise damage, and there I did a decent amount. But I quickly realized that even when Glintblade Phalanx causes that stagger, just the inherent way that I use the Rapier in Glintstone or Glintblade Phalanx means I'm a bit far away to take advantage of that stagger, and she gets up pretty incredibly quickly after her stagger. So I was like, the damage is not coming in quick enough for me, so that's not going to happen. Back to the Uchi, but now we're using the Lion's Claw. Again, trying to find ways to sort of close the gap while respecting her absolutely insane whirlwind attack. I thought, well, Lion's Claw gets me in there nice and quick. But that was not my ultimate preferred solution, simply because the Lion's Claw seemed a little bit inconsistent with how often I was able to hit. Because she still has a decent amount of ability to dodge and to get out of the way relatively quickly, and so Unsheathed I felt would give me a better chance at making that land more consistently, I guess, in the long run. There we go. Another one bites the dust. We're standing in water, so why not try Thunderbolt, right? I thought maybe there would be sort of maybe a hidden association where lightning meets water, and that would keep me a bit safe and get some free damage in there. But again, if she wasn't able to heal, I think that would be brilliant. But the fact is that Thunderbolt just does too little damage. And the amount of damage that the stacking with standing in the water is probably, from what I could tell, only like 10-15%. So again, all about that trial and error. I realized that was not going to be a viable long-term solution. Because there, with just one thrust right there, she kind of undid all the good that my my thunderbolting had been able to accomplish. So another failed experiment. So we're back to the Unsheathed, but this time I've added Blood Flame Blade, and that was probably one of the biggest milestones of this fight, was realizing that Blood Flame Blade with the Keen Uchi specifically was going to get damage out there quick enough. That wasn't a very successful run right there, but the amount of damage I was able to unload into her quickly and effectively just kind of shortening the fight, even if it meant I was taking a bit of damage myself, that in itself was worth the trade-off. That in itself was worth the trade-off. And Unsheathed, again, it's probably the best Ash of War out there, in my opinion. Just, it gets out there really quickly, and the way you naturally end after unsheathing means that you're able to land a decent number of hits into that crit. Still struggling a little bit there with the whirlwind attack, but starting to get a general sense of the way in which she moves during it. So it seems as if she's sort of in front for the first two and then moves behind for the third. And so I'm just trying to build up that muscle memory and resolve, what way do I need to dodge, which is pretty critical, critically important to figure that out. But I think I'm doing a pretty good job here of kind of keeping my distance and starting to pick up on a little bit of the cadence of how she moves, including those little jump backs like you see that she did just there, that she must do at very specific HP trigger points. And so knowing that I can force her into doing those little jump backs gives me more of a breathing room to flask up, blood flame blade up, and prepare for the next onslaught. And also, you know, a big part, I think, of becoming comfortable with the boss, just in Souls games in general, is knowing when it's safe to dodge into them. Because ultimately, that's really the recipe for success for a lot of bosses, is how comfortable can you get with getting up close and personal, you know, to dodge in and around them. Because that's going to set you up for success for critting them and for landing extra hits, and put you in a good spot position-wise. So I'm starting to do that here. And allowing that sweet, sweet blood buildup to occur in her. It saved my bacon. And here we go. Officially entering into Phase 2. Of course, I did not think for a second at the time that this would be over. Not that easy. You know, from everything that I'd heard about Malenia, it was the least surprising thing that a Phase 2 would occur. So, from a lore standpoint, so she is the chosen champion of Mikola, right? Which was one of Marika's children, if I'm understanding that correctly. And so, what I'm trying to figure out is why she chooses to sort of restrain herself in her godhood, right? Because here, she becomes fully unveiled as the goddess of rot, with all the rights and privileges that she is entitled to therein. And can I say, amazing aesthetics. Truly incredible. Great battlefield, great music, great look. And the prosthetic that she is wielding, obviously that's reminiscent of Millicent, who we had seen previously. And because she is, well, she's the goddess of rot, but does that mean she's also infected by it? So maybe she's losing appendages to it? And there we go. There's the ignominious ends to my first foray into Phase 2. Not much to write home about there. But I'm back again, and I'm riding the Unsheathed train again. And here are some of my, you know, successes with surviving that whirlwind attack, just by the barest skin of my teeth. Truly, I have never been happier to be at 60 vigor than I have for this specific fight. And there's a lot of attempts that I'm not going to be including here. You know, even after I made Phase 2 the first time, plenty of Phase 1 runs that were cut way short. But in all of them, I was happy for every single little bit of health that I could have possibly gotten. I learned over time that reapplying Blood Flame Blade, as you saw right there, was pretty crucial, because Unsheathed can and did provide sort of moderate success, but really the best possible damage to time spent fighting her ratio, including staggers, was when I applied Blood Flame Blade. So even during times in which I ran out of Blood Flame Blade in the middle of a combo or was on the back foot, I started more and more prioritizing the reapplication of Blood Flame Blade. And I also sort of toyed with the notion that if Blood Flame Blade is a key part to my strategy, then maybe it's actually better to do more basic attacks when I get the chance versus the Ash of War, right? Because more basic attacks presumably means more of a blood buildup, which is what I want in the long term, right? I want that blood proc. So I start to kind of experiment that as I begin dabbling in Phase 2. And here you can see my change in armament. Just trying to figure out what exactly I need to do to be able to have enough physical damage resistance so that when I misdodge those whirlwind attacks, it's not the end of the world. So things like the veteran helm, Hoslow's armor was pretty key. And just throwing on, you know, some other accessories on there were pretty helpful as well. In terms of talismans, of course, you see the turtle one, the stamina and vigor ones, which I actually end up taking off because I just don't see that the benefit they gave me to be as impactful in a long, drawn-out fight like this. So I actually switch it, I think, here to the Erdtree's Favor to just try to get a little bit more of that health. So, you know, any additional health is a potential run saved. Yeah, whenever that blood procs and cancels her animation, that was one of the most satisfying things in the world. just the knowledge that not only did she take damage, but there was one additional flurry that I didn't even have to worry about. So that came in quite handy over time. And again, I'm just continuing to get comfortable here, not only with the cadence of her attacks, but also when it's safe to heal up and resupply. And she's strangely passive when you want to flask up or reapply status effects to your weapon, which I was kind of surprised at. I would say about 90% of the time, if I backed off and healed up a little bit, threw on an FP flask or what have you, she would actually be pretty content to keep her distance. And I'm guessing that was just sort of a bone that was thrown to us for this boss to give us some, you know, small chance of, well, presenting the best possible fight that we can, right? And it really is a testament to what a true champion that she is. You know, it's as if she's saying, you know, like, go ahead, you can add whatever status effect or item or anything that you want to, because I'm still going to beat you 9 times out of 10. And, friends, that is very correct. But now I'm hitting Phase 2 a bit more consistently. I'm probably in my 50th, 60th attempt now, I would say, at this point. Again, it was kind of strange that even though I made it to Phase 2, you know, I would say about 50% of the time, even after a very or relatively successful Phase 2 run, I would still find myself falling short within the first 25% of her health bar in Phase 1, you know, and just kind of have to get re-used to her whole mechanics all over again. Yeah, Phase 2, man, like the aggressiveness for Malenia is just turned up to 11, and so I decided that I need to go back and change things up. So I threw on Great Jar's Arsenal because I really wanted to get some heavier armor in there. Just because what I had was not cutting it. So I threw on Radahn's armor just to really, again, maximize not only the physical damage resist, but also the ability to resist that Scarlet Rot buildup, which became more and more of a factor there in Phase 2. There's just so many ways that she can, you know, be aggressive towards you and counteract even a very, very good run. And just that small shift in momentum can really be the difference between a successful one or one that is cut short, unfortunately. So there we go. Threw on a little bit of Lionel's gauntlets. I was also looking for a tad bit of poise as well, just so that I wouldn't get absolutely shellacked with every single, major attack that she did. Of course, there were some, like the Impale attack, that no amount of poise is going to protect you from that. But for all others, it was quite helpful. And there we go. I'm starting to get a little bit more aggressive there. Just trying to stay close and even try to hit her into her own combos. And that's, again, another level of analysis and comprehension that I figured out over time. It's like you don't always have to wait for her to stop attacking to get your damage in. There are windows to deal damage to them, to her, even during her own combo, but at that point it's all about positioning, right? It's all about finding the correct angle to continue to deal damage while they're doing their thing. So phase 2, there are a lot of new attacks like this one, summoning the spirits, the 1, 2, 3, 4 spirits, and that was, I think that may have been my first time seeing that. And that was pretty unexpected. Having to learn not two completely different movesets, because she does share similarities between the first and the second phase, but it's just so hard to switch from that phase 1 to phase 2 mentality. Again, especially considering how I was not necessarily hitting phase 2 every time. So sometimes I would be in my perfect phase 1 mode, go to phase 2, and just have to relearn lessons all over again. And here we see, we just saw a second ago, Radahn's armor coming in handy, allowing my very poor rolling in that whirlwind attack to be mitigated by the physical damage resist. So Great Jar's Arsenal coming in quite handy, especially as a dex wielder as I am. I never get to wear heavy stuff like this, which is not even the heaviest, but it's just enough to give me a little bit more confidence. It was also sort of a revelation to me how far back I could get to dodge that first part of the whirlwind attack. And there we go. I think that was a perfect little sequence right there. So I started to try to find that balance between being up close, personal, and aggressive, but also respecting that whirlwind attack to be able to create plenty of distance for that first volley. I will say that this is a nice transition between the first phase and the second to really allow you to give it your best go into the second phase. Applying status effects, even getting in a few quick free hits was quite nice. The main thing about phase 2, though, is just it's so hard to see, like with all the butterflies coming off in those wings. Half the time I wasn't even sure what attack she was even doing to need to react to, simply because I couldn't even really see what was going on, right? And I guess that's just something you have to intuit over time just by being comfortable with the order in which she does things. Here's one where I'm getting real close, y'all. Look at that, another successful whirlwind attack dodged. Plenty of flasks. What could possibly go wrong, right? Well, that stab there at the end of the sequence, that's what could go wrong. But again, staying aggressive, trying to get that blood buildup going. It's just so hard to find safe times in which to heal, especially in the second phase, because they can punish you for it. And there we go, another whirlwind attack, not quite as successful, but still alive. Still staying with it, but just one little combo gone wrong like that, and there, I think my mojo got thrown off. And from here, I'm pretty much on the back foot, more or less. There we go. There's the Scarlet Rot build-up. And that's going to put a real damper into this attempt. I have some preserving boluses. Try to pop one right there. I think I do that successfully. Get one more heal in. Not to mention my flask, but I should have saved that flask for later, I think. In that little counter kick that she does, I start to learn over time that really one or maybe two basic attacks are what you need to do, because otherwise you're going to get countered. And there's the end of what could have been a really good attempt. I was pretty disappointed. And really, there's not too many safe combos to attack her in, at least for my specific weapon, is what I found. I found the safest opportunities to be after she slams her sword into the ground like that and does the little rot explosion, dodging to the side was where I was able to get most of the effective attempts in. And that's a freebie right there. That's just free damage that I'm leaving on the table by getting hit by that explosion. And then, not to mention being out of position. So I can't even take advantage of her slowness to get up. So even though I got affected by Scarlet Rot a few times, I never, fortunately, I never actually really felt that it was all that impactful. Maybe it was just because I was able to escape most of the major rot-based attacks. But even though I had plenty of preserving boluses at the ready, not to mention Flame Cleanse Me, it never ended up being a huge factor for me. It was really just the physical damage combos that did me in most of the time. So rot was more of an annoyance than it was a major factor, just in my opinion. And yeah, the way she can stagger you in those combos, which makes rolling an impossibility, is just really demoralizing. Because like the first one hits, like the first part of the combo hits, you're like, okay, I know what's coming next. But then you realize, being as light as I am as a dex person, there's no way that I can roll in time to escape the others because I'm still in my stagger animation, you know? And there you go. There's another example of that right there, where I did get hit by a rot attack because I was still staggered from the previous. It's just, you know, momentum, one after another. And after a certain amount of time, frustration kind of sets in, like right there. That unsheath I probably could have done without an attempt, but you're like, man, I just want to, you know, dish out some damage right there. And you kind of lose sight of what makes sense. And you got to play it conservatively from a certain perspective, because she will make you pay quickly. Even the highest health bar is no match for her once she really gets going. And there we go. We can see my response to the whirlwind attack is getting even still a little bit better. I'm getting plenty of practice in, that's for sure. It was really, you know, what made Phase 2 so challenging is, well, another factor was just how long it was to complete Phase 1 and then play the endurance game for Phase 2. You know, it's one of those things where you have to be staying sharp for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 minutes, where any one combo could mean instant termination of that run. And there's another success story of Blood Flame Blade right there, just doing half of a health bar's damage to Malenia in mere seconds. Just such a good addition to the Uchi, and I'm sure a lot of weapons in general. But you know, it just dovetails so well with the Uchi's natural bleed buildup. So over time, I found myself less and less disturbed by that whirlwind attack. It just became more of an annoyance than anything else. And it was really just some of the sequencing that threw me off, you know, a lot of times. Even if the whirlwind attack itself was not that impactful, just being out of position and just eating that first volley really hurt. And there's another really good attempt. Gone too soon. But you'll notice that I've kept my loadout pretty consistent from here on out. The combination of the talismans and the armor I felt to be pretty effective for the most part. I think one thing I did end up switching the more I got into Phase 2 was adding in the talisman that increased the amount of healing that I could gain from each flask. Which is really such a game changer for making the most of the short windows that you have to heal. And I quickly realized that this boss, more than a lot of others, prioritizing those healing opportunities was such a critical part of success. But here we go. We're popping back to Phase 1 real quick, because I just kind of want to show you where I'm at in terms of how a Phase 1 is going for me at this point in my Malenia journey. You know, I have gotten to Phase 2 so many times at this point. Really, Phase 1 just became more of an exercise in how many resources was I going to expend, right? My main resources being the Blood Flame Blade timing into Phase 2, Crimson Tier flasks, obviously. FP flasks, not as much, because I would typically only use one refill. But the timing of Blood Flame Blade was an interesting one, because I would typically get about 1.5 to 2 Blood Flame Blades in for the first phase, on a successful Phase 1 run. So the question became, do I reapply Blood Flame Blade at the beginning of Phase 2 to maximize the amount of time I get there, or try to ride the gravy train from the end of Phase 1 into Phase 2, which would allow me time for other important consumable, opportunity, like healing and other things later on. And there we go. That's a pretty standard Phase 1 for me that you saw right there. Just being able to allow that bleed to proc in a pretty satisfying way. And here is the first time in which I've started using a rune arc. And I'm using, I believe it's Morgoth's, I want to say, arc. Whatever one it is that just increases your max health. That's the only thing it does. It greatly increases your max health bar. But that, and as you can see now, I am now using the talisman, which increases my my health gain for each Crimson Tier application. So I figured, because I'm having such a hard time with getting damage done to me in rapid succession, that I just need to play the tank game a little bit. So I'm armored up, but the other part of that is I need to get my health bar up, and then have something to fill that health bar with, which is where the Blessed Dew talisman comes in. So this became my main kind of strategy, that I would wait until Phase 2, and if I had enough flasks, say like 7 or 8, which to me sort of designated like a successful Phase 1, at that point I would go ahead and pop a rune arc. Because I only had a certain amount. I think I started out before Malenia with 44. So I know that that those are a precious resource. But this seemed like the perfect opportunity to use those. I couldn't think of a better time to pop those babies than in her Phase 2. And again, just unsheathing into her combo was super duper helpful to get a little bit of free money damage going in on her. And there's me trying to just basic a little bit more, as opposed to using Unsheath all the time, as I mentioned. Again, just getting that bleed build up. The more number of times I tap her, the more opportunity there is for that build up. Moderately successful dodging of the spirit summon. I'm sure that I probably would have had more success with some of the other weapons had I given them a chance at this point, but I figured that I was in for a ride with the Uchi, ride or die. And speaking of dying, here is one more attempt I'd like to show you in Stoic Silence. Please enjoy. No
The mark
freaking way.
of a true lord.
Is this it? Everything. Oh my gosh. I am sweating up a
Dear
storm.
Mikola,
Everything went so perfectly that time.
dearest Mikola,
Everything.
my brother,
Like, I was just in the zone there.
I finally met my match.
Oh my gosh. Oh my. That was. Oh, what are my thoughts right now? Okay, so without a doubt, this is going to be a montage episode. Without a doubt, this is going to be a montage episode. But what are some of my thoughts to conclude this with? Obviously, the reputation for Malenia is well deserved. Yeah, 100 times harder than anything that I've fought before. Um, I put out a video previously about like my Dark Souls 1, 2, 3 experiences, including hardest boss. And of course one of the hardest ones for me personally was Manus, Lord of the Abyss, and the Dark Souls 1 DLC. You know, I dedicated like a full like half a day to defeating him. But Malenia, like so many attempts, like I don't even want to speculate. There's no way that I'm going to be showing all the attempts that I went through here on the video, but certainly over 100, I would say. Just doing some quick math. And so many different combinations. So just on the off chance that in the montage, there's not good footage to show what I'm currently rolling with, I ended up going with Great Jar Arsenal. My rationale there was that it would give me a little bit of a more robust armor, so I could kind of survive that that swirly whirly attack that she likes to do so much. And obviously, it's going to deal a lot of damage no matter what. But I was hoping that something a little bit more robust would help me if I made a mistake. So Veteran's Helm, Radahn's Line Armor, Lionel's Gauntlets, Crucible Greaves for that. Green Turtle Talisman, standard. I never even thought about taking that off for an instant. I ended up throwing on Crimson Seed Talisman to make my flasks go a little bit farther. And then finally the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman, which I just picked up right before fighting Malenia, probably for a very specific reason that it was put there. So I ended up doing that. Obviously, I have my rune arcs here used for the first time. I had some preserving boluses for the Scarlet Rot. Never really needed to use that in the end, fortunately. And yeah, so what did I think? I would say that Phase 1 Malenia is one of my favorite Souls bosses that I've ever fought. Like, it's up there with, with Cerulean, with Fume Knight, with Artorias, Slave Knight Gale, just sort of that quintessential 1v1 sword v sword type of duel that I truly love. Phase 2, I was not a huge fan of, unfortunately. And part of that, obviously, was probably due to me not being able to get as many reps in to Phase 2, because I wouldn't, obviously, always make it to Phase 2. But just the fact that she was so much more aggressive, all the sort of artifacts coming off of her wings made it really hard to see what she was up to. I can't say that I really loved her second phase. And for me, like, if I was to sort of make an overall ranking of like favorite bosses, even though she's certainly been the toughest, I have a hard time saying that she's my favorite just for that Phase 2, unfortunately. I don't even mind the fact that she has a very, challenging moveset in Phase 1, or the fact that she heals. Like that, I'm okay with all of that. But just the way that Phase 2 was turned up, not to mention just the way that those, like I said, the visibility was a really big detriment to me. And I don't know, maybe that's just the type of person I am, that I need a little bit more simplicity and concentration. That knocked it down a tad for me. Obviously, I'm not going to say that she's a bad boss by any means. Certainly not. And it was frustrating, but also fun as a challenge to fight. Yeah, I'm just feeling so... I'm like this. I feel like this is a dream. I can't believe that I've actually beat her right now. And knowing that she's already done with, it's like, you know, or is every other boss going to feel like cake at this point? Probably not. I mean, maybe somewhat, relatively speaking, but yeah. Thanks so much for watching, guys. This was one heck of a journey to ultimately beat Malenia, but I am quite proud, and it's fun to see. Not to toot my own horn, but again, about a year and a half ago, I had never played a Dark Souls game before, so playing Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, and then Elden Ring kind of all relatively consecutively. I've seen a lot of growth in myself in being able to handle a major challenge like this. So I've got a little bit of a sense of pride and accomplishment, if you will, and I thank you so much for coming along this journey with me. Next time, something different. I don't know. Anything different would be great. Thanks so much for watching, y'all, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.